Some children do not grow up in childhood. They grow up in duty, while other kids are learning how to tie their shoes. These children are learning how to keep the house from collapsing, while others are asking for help. They are the ones giving it. And while the world sees a mature, responsible kid, inside them something is quietly breaking. The parentified child is not born. They're created by circumstances too heavy for their small shoulders. Sometimes it's a sick parent. Sometimes addiction. Sometimes emotional instability. Sometimes poverty. Sometimes a family that simply refuses to function. Whatever the reason, the story begins the same way. A child looks around and realizes no one else is going to save this family. So they try. They become the emotional backbone, the peacekeeper, the caretaker, the little adult in a body that still fits in school desks. They learn to cook before they learn to spell. They learn to comfort a crying parent before they understand what the parent is crying about. They learn to budget money before they've ever bought a toy for themselves. And each time they step up, each time they carry the weight, the adults around them mistake survival for strength. They praise them. They call them so responsible, so helpful, so good. No one notices that the child is drowning under the compliments. No one asks who holds them when they cry. No one wonders what they had to bury to be this mature. Because parentified children don't just lose their childhood. They lose the right to need. They become the ones who handle emergencies, calm storms, manage chaos, tell their siblings to eat, tell their parents to rest, clean the messes they didn't make, carry emotions that were never theirs to carry. They learn to stay hyper-aware. Is mom upset today? Is dad drinking again? Are the bills due? Is everyone okay? Their nervous system becomes an alarm system. They live on high alert, scanning faces, reading tones, anticipating explosions before they happen. And the saddest part? They think this is normal. They think every child wipes their mother's tears. They think every child tells their father to calm down. They think every child steps between fighting adults. They think every child stays awake until everyone else is safe. They don't realize they've been robbed. Not by strangers, but by the very people meant to protect them. As they grow older, this role follows them like a shadow. They become the friend who listens to everyone but never speaks. The partner who gives everything and asks for nothing. The coworker who picks up the slack while others relax. The person who always has it together, even when they're falling apart inside. They struggle to rest. They struggle to trust. They struggle to say I need help. Because help was never available to them. Even love feels strange. If someone takes care of them, they feel guilty. If someone offers comfort, they freeze. If someone notices their pain, they panic. Because deep down they believe, love is something I give, not something I receive. Support is something I provide, not something I'm allowed. Needs are dangerous. Needs get ignored. Needs get punished. So they hide their exhaustion behind a strong smile. They keep being dependable, reliable, useful, hoping that if they hold everything together, maybe someone will finally hold them. But that never happens. And they start breaking quietly. They burn out. They feel empty. They don't understand why they're angry at small things, or why they collapse in private, or why they feel a sadness so heavy it feels inherited. And then one day, after years of carrying everyone else, they feel a strange exhaustion that doesn't go away. A kind of emotional numbness. A heaviness they can't shake. A tiny, whispering thought. Why is no one taking care of me? This is the first time they question the system they grew up in. The first time they realized their childhood was not maturity. It was neglect wrapped in responsibility. They look back and see it clearly. The moments they cried alone. The nights they stayed awake worrying. The weight they carried without being asked. Because no one needed to ask. They were trained to pick it up. And for the first time, they feel grief. Not for what happened, but for what never happened. No one took them in. No one noticed they were afraid. No one protected their innocence. No one told them it wasn't their job to fix the broken adults around them. And grief is honest. Grief doesn't lie. Grief shows them the truth. They were a child trying to keep everyone alive. But something else happens too. Something unexpected, almost soft. They start wanting the childhood they never had. Not toys or cartoons, but rest. Safety. A day without responsibility. A life without guilt for existing. They start longing for people who listen back. People who understand them. People who don't just see their strength, but see the tired child inside that strength. And slowly, healing begins. Not in grand gestures. Not in sudden freedom. But in tiny rebellions. Saying no, without explaining. Resting even when something feels unfinished. Letting someone else handle the problem. Crying without apologizing. Saying, I can't do this today. And each small act feels like breaking a rule they didn't agree to follow. Because parentified children aren't trying to learn how to be adults. They're trying to learn how to be human. They're trying to learn how to be cared for. After a lifetime of caretaking. They're trying to learn how to let go. When their whole identity was built on holding on. They're trying to learn how to have needs. When their childhood taught them needs are burdens. And one day, not suddenly, but slowly like sunrise, they realize something powerful. It was never your job to be the parent. You were a child doing what the adults refused to do. You were responsible because they weren't. You were strong because you had to be. You were mature because you had no choice. But now you get to choose. You get to put the burden down. You get to be soft, tired, vulnerable, messy. You get to let others show up for you. You get to rebuild a life where care is mutual, not one-sided. You get to be the child you never got to be. Not by going back, but by going forward differently. And the most healing moment comes when they understand this truth. Being cared for is not a luxury. It's a right. One you always deserved. Even when no one gave it to you. The story of the parentified child doesn't end in exhaustion. It ends the moment they realize they were a child carrying a family that was never meant to be their responsibility. And now, they finally get to carry themselves.